Like, Sonic Forces, to a Sonic fan, a hardcore Sonic fan, is okay. So you can imagine how someone who's hesitant about it would feel if they got it and played it. I mean, a lot of people agree that it was a big disappointment. I know you have all your "I told you so" people talking about Sonic Forces. But really, they didn't know it was going to be that bad. Or, well, that... not as good, I should say. They didn't know that. So don't worry about, you know, them saying, "I told you so." The problem is, if they really wanted us to trust them on saying it wasn't going to be very good, you shouldn't have crapped all over the games we do, like a lot of people do like it, or, you know, a lot of Sonic fans of the post-Genesis things. It's like, basically, how they criticize anything that is post-Genesis, or the way they do it. If they hadn't have done that, we might have been more inclined to trust them on, you know, like, to trust them on, I'm just trying to get this red ring, on, like, whenever they said this, that it's going to be bad, or it's not going to be very good with Sonic Forces. Let you know the tale. Which, luckily, I haven't, like, I actually haven't, you know, said as many things about Sonic over these past 2 games that I've played. I've played I've played a lot of games that haven't been Sonic lately, so it's kind of refreshing to come back to Sonic in a way. But Sonic, what was I gonna say? I'll explain here a bit.
23, 24, 25. Ah, not nearly enough aliens.
Want us to get more?
No, I want you to get me a cheeseburger and a shake.
That'll be easier. Cheeseburgers don't run as fast as them little alien varmints.
Idiot, get me more aliens.
Y'all want fries with that? Go! I reckon that hurt a bit. Wait a minute, I need to go over yonder. Sorry.
Precious little aliens. I'll harness their hyper-go-on power, and then nothing will stop me. I know I say that every time, but this time, really, nothing will stop me.
Boss?
What? Sonic!
Who you calling nothing?
Huh? He means since the boss said nothing will stop me, and Sonic here is going to stop him, it's like the boss was calling Sonic nothing.
Great! I thought nobody would get that.
You're so smart. You take care of this mess. Release the... At least I know...
I am so sorry, ladies and gentlemen.
Hasta la bye-bye, suckers!
Guess it's time for me to start stopping.
I get it.
Right, so let me pause it real quick, ladies and gentlemen. I will be right back. Alright, we're back, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry about that. My dog decided, hey, I'm going to bark during this cutscene, and then stop barking after he's able to pause it. I was trying to check and see what he was barking at, and of course, surprise, surprise, it was nothing. I love my dog. I do. I love dogs. But good lord. Bark, they're just like, you know. By the way, this is an incredibly easy boss. Like, it's, like, look at that. I only had 3 hit points, and it really wasn't that hard to get to it. So let's, you know... I mean, I didn't exactly get an S rank on that, but, you know.
Just tighten this last bolt. Oh, there you are. Where'd you run off to?
I did a little shopping, grabbed a bite to eat, and trashed a giant killer robot.
Oh, really? And they've got shopping here, too?
This place has everything. Hey, so how's your translator thingy coming along?
I think it's done. It's in binary code, so only I can read it. Okay, ask away.
Who are you, and what is happening to your people?
Okay, he says his name is Talks a Lot, and he's from a faraway soda, and where flowers water them with dances.
Yeah, I think your machine still has some bugs.
Yeah, I think I can figure this out, though. Okay, he said his name is Yacker. He's from a race of beings called Wisps.
Lisps?
No, Wisps, with a W.
Yeah, I'll just stick with aliens if that's okay with everybody.
Oh, sure. So anyway, they're either being used for their magical powers by an evil man, or to make underwear to be worn by Salad. I just hear save them, over and over.
When I was running around trashing robots, I saw a map that had a couple of interesting places. I think I'll go check them out, and maybe save some aliens.
The boss man said to wrangle every piece of this mess. When you consider what we're doing from a robot's point of view, it's actually pretty gruesome.
Don't think about it.
If you say so.
I'm missing an arm. Have you got an arm?
No, but really, how much can it matter?
I guess it can't matter much.
By the way, that doesn't really affect much of anything in the spoiler. That doesn't really affect much in the story. But anyway, so well, it is kind of cool right here that we actually got a couple of choices rather than just going to the next area. It's a single next area. You got a choice between these two. Anyway, I will say that this was a comforting game to go to whenever I, back in 2010. It was kind of comforting to play because, how should I say this? Oh yeah, this is where this famous place is from, in case you've played, Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transformed. This is a, this is where that Starlight Road or whatever comes from. I don't have a thing. They expect me to do a thing, and I don't have that thing to do the thing. This is kind of interesting. Anyway, this is a very bright game, by the way, in a sense. In a way, just, you know, very bright and colorful game. Hold on, see if I can go up there. Yep. I do kind of like this one. This one's pretty good. Like this power up right here. Oh boy. Anyway, yeah, that's what that does. Like I've said before, There is some challenge. All right then. I didn't realize he was doing that at first. Anyway, but yeah, this was a comforting game, or comforting moment back in 2010 for me because, well, not just, I mean, partially, I mean, it was Christmas, so, you know, get those jolly feelings. But also back in 2010, that really wasn't the best year for, I mean, in some regards it was. Like, it was a pretty good year in some things, but, I don't know, the year was just, it just wasn't very good to me as much. Because, like, starting in, like, summer, or getting close to summer that year, I was like, I got really sick, or felt like I was really sick. It turned out to be a lot of anxiety. I think I've mentioned that before, but I've mentioned before probably about how I was sick or felt sick back in 2010, and like every day, almost felt like throwing up for some reason. I was like so, and then I got so scared. I had never felt that way before, so it's kind of weird, kind of like how this moment's going. But like, I was like really scared that like, I don't know, there were some parts where I honestly thought I was gonna die or something, or death was upon me. Because I felt so sick, and I'd never felt that sick before. But it turned out to be anxiety and stuff that continued it. And like, it didn't seem to go away, or almost didn't seem to go away. And at that point I was just like, wow, what's gonna happen to me? Even went to school and everything, and I was just like, you know. But anyway, where I'm getting at is, this game was pretty comforting. A pretty comforting Sonic game. It wasn't really bad. Essentially, you know. Oh yeah, there was a thing up there. It was a relieving game. But I didn't play it that much, because soon after I started getting used to my quote-unquote sickness, for the most part, I realized that this game really wasn't all that great. I mean, I really haven't played this game that much. Or, well, beat it. I think I may have only beaten this game like once. Once or twice. I guess technically 2 times, if you count the DS version. But in terms of this version, it... I haven't really played it that much. I tried to get into the DS version of this game, I just couldn't. I don't know, maybe I'll try to give it one more chance. I don't know for sure though. But I've tried to. I've tried my best to get into the DS version. And despite how cool it is that you got the other characters in the game as side missions, but they're still there. And it's also kind of confusing that they're not in this game, but that's probably them rushing it. Despite all that, I still like this one better. I'd rather come back to this version of Sonic Colors than you know. But if I play it at all, but I really don't like playing this with the game that much. It's just not a very good game. It's just not okay. It's good, but not that good. Like, what kind of confuses me. This is gonna be a little bit of criticism towards Exo Paradigm Gamer. but I mean, you can, you know, is he can have his own opinion and everything. Don't get me wrong. You can like, it doesn't have to make sense to us. It can make sense to him because it's his opinion. He talks about not liking. He isn't the of 2D games, which I'm kind of right there with him. If I'm honest, he likes there's 2D games he likes, but where I was getting at was he prefers 3D over 2D from how he describes it. From how he describes how he likes games and stuff. And talks about how, like, obviously he understands back in the day, like, how they had to, whenever they worked on games, you know, 2D was pretty much a, you know, or side-scrollers at least, in general. And, while, yes, there are 2D games I like as well, I definitely getting that. with the, you know, criticism of 2D games. What I'm trying to figure out, like, so I think he likes 3D Sonic games more. I can't remember for sure. I think Sonic Adventure 2 is one of his favorites. There is a point to this. If you know me, you know it's gonna take me a while to get to the point. The point I'm trying to get at is... Oh, crap. This level kind of drags on. But the point I'm trying to get at is... He says... I think he prefers 3D Sonic over 2D Sonic, but obviously he doesn't... He does see the different quality of some of the future Sonic games that came out after... you know, Genesis. But he says this is one of his favorite games of all time. This one right here, one of his favorite. I mean, that could have just been for back then. It may have changed by now, possibly. But what I'm trying to figure out is if he prefers 3D Sonic over 2D Sonic, why does he like this one more? Because this one was like mostly 3D. Gosh, I'm dying a lot. If he likes 2D, why does he like this Sonic game more? Or why is this one of his favorites? Because like I said, and like other people have said, this was like mostly a side-scroller. Or whatever this is. I'm not gonna get as many rings. But yeah, it's primarily a side-scrolling game. It's hardly it's like mostly the only 3D part is the graphics. And yeah, there is some. And he talks about don't get me wrong, ladies and gentlemen. I do really like EXO, like the channel and stuff. Like he's really smart when it comes to a lot of things. But this sort of reminds me of how like his criticism of Crash Bandicoot. How he basically calls it just a 2D game on its side, which it's hard to argue with that because he's got a point there. It is mostly a 2D game, just in a forward 3D type game perspective. But why is this one of his favorite Sonic games? If it's essentially almost the same thing, except with a little more restriction, honestly. If EXO ever hears this at any point, just know that, you know, you have your own opinion. That doesn't have to make sense to us. I'm just trying to figure it out. Us as in the other audience that may watch this. Well, I got a D on that stage, but, you know, I gave a D to the design of that stage. Hey, look at this crap. I'm hardly ever going in 3D. This is still side-scrolling. By the way, they used a lot of these types of things in Sonic Forces. They decided to go with a more Sonic Colors feel for Forces than more than Sonic Generations. Whereas probably should have gone more with the Sonic Generations feel if they were going to go for a feeling of anything.